My PhD research was on early career teachers and how communities of practice could support them. And part of what I did was a survey that went out mostly through social media, because I didn't have much luck sending it through schools themselves. They didn't really pass it on. But through social media sites like Aussie Ed and places like that, I sent out a survey and I ended up getting 109 surveys back. And on the survey, it asked people if they'd like to have an interview, and I ended up interviewing about 49 different early career teachers spread throughout Australia, really, and some New Zealand as well. And so, like, the issue of mentoring came up a fair bit in it, and a lot of them were casual teachers as well. So I saw really the best of mentoring, and I saw the worst of mentoring. So, so go back here. So Burke is one of the authors. I looked at the availability and quality of mentoring is shown to play a major role in the quality of ECTs, and that's come through in what other people have been saying today as well. And having a mentor there to give feedback and be available when you need them, and having the right off-the-job learning at the right time. Shanks, Robson and Gray point to that as well. You've also got Eitzel stressing the importance of mentors. They would say of all the induction strategies available, practice-focused mentoring by one or more expert colleagues is particularly powerful in moving from graduate to proficient career stage. So Eitzel recognises the importance. Now this was interesting out of the survey, so my statistics coming out of that, like where did they get their support from? And you'll see the spot they got, even 65% was the highest percent, was from their staff room and their office. So interestingly, like even a school might invest all this money in setting up other procedures, where they place their teachers in offices often makes the best difference. You notice only 50%, 52.12% got value from their mentor, so only half of them really got support from that, and even less from collaborative groups either outside the school or other places. So that was somewhat disturbing, really. And so in a way, what you could say is the experience early career teachers have is either like being in Survivor or being on The Voice. So if you're in Survivor, and some of these teachers were in Survivor sort of schools, it's a competitive, hostile environment, and there's winners and losers, and very individualistic, and if you don't perform, well, you're out. And a lot of them, some of these teachers were on short-term contracts. They were afraid to say, oh, I'm having trouble with that Year 8 class, because they know their contract won't be renewed. So a lot of them were in very vulnerable positions. On the contrast, if you're in the voice kind of thing, you know how supportive those people are, don't you? Like if you've watched The Voice, like you get lots of support, you have mentors, you have coaches who work with you, you're part of a collaborative environment. These are some of the comments that some of my teachers said. I'll let you just read those. You can see sort of the importance of maybe having a mentor in a similar subject area to, I think, a maths. Yeah. If you're a maths person, you've got an English teaching mentor. I don't know that it always works. Or if you're here and your mentor's way over on the other side of the school and you can't see them very much, not very helpful. Here's some other things. One, that mature age ECT, she was in her 40s and she's given a 24-year-old mentor. Like there's a bit of a crunch there, like not much thought was being given to it. Another, like they had a very old teacher who's about to retire, and he wasn't thinking much more other than retiring at the end of the year. He was allocated. basically schools don't always put a lot of thought into who the mentor is. Others had better mentoring. The support of the principal was particularly important as well. One school up in Wangaratta that I found it was a hugely supportive school. The ECTs had induction that went for the whole year, not just like what Steve was saying, here's the photocopier and that. They met every fortnight or so, and the principal popped in. He wasn't there all the time, but that adds, the research would say, that adds prestige. The ECTs feel, I'm supported and the school values what I'm doing. And the mentors came along as well to the induction stuff. So because it went for the whole year, they got help with reports and parent-teacher interviews and all those things that happened down the track, really. Team teaching was really helpful. No one's really mentioned that so far, but a young teacher out at Dandenong, which is a fairly rough area and she was an international student, but she coped really well because she was in team teaching with a more experienced teacher, and so when she was teaching, the more experienced teacher kept a bit of an eye on the kids that they were still listening and gave her a bit of feedback. But then when the other teacher was teaching, she could observe and see a more experienced teacher teaching. So I think team teaching is really important. Not just having your official mentor, but having everyone in the school looking out for you, basically, is so important, really. Purposely chosen mentors, you don't just randomly say this person, this one, putting a bit of thought into it, and that's the middle level person doing that, probably. Generally in the same or similar subject area, generally geographically proximate, like preferably in their own staff room, but not too far away. Enough time to do the job, like mentors don't tend to, in some schools, get any time allowance for doing it, and maybe they should. Appropriately aged matched for the ECT, and there's more and more people coming in mature age. Where I work at ACU, you'd have a good sprinkling of mature age people, and it's a bit of an insult to put them with a really young teacher. Doesn't kind of work. Regular timetable meetings, and then there's a whole other presentation, really, I think I might have done once before, on casual teachers, because they don't get a mentor at all, really. Especially, they might if they're there for a term, if they're lucky, but if they're only doing 2 weeks here and a week there and a week somewhere else, they don't get a mentor, and yet as much as anyone else they need a mentor, and they don't get a staff office to sit in, and they don't get often induction, so all of those things that are really helpful to bring a new person into the profession that they don't get. And that seems to be the case for most early career beginning teachers. Very few would get ongoing positions, I suspect. Most would be casual because that's all they can get for the first few years. So that's a worry that they don't even get mentoring. So, yeah, that's for me.